You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of this past week. We mentioned the filing period for spring primary election candidates open. The Lubbock Mayor Dan Pope's name will not be on that list. The three-term mayor saying that after a lot of thought and prayer, it was time for a change. Mr. Pope's saying he's proud to have worked with the council for 6 years and proud to have moved the city forward during that time. Several people have already filed or expressed interest in the job, with likely more to come. Current Lubbock District Attorney Sunshine Stanek will run again to keep that job. Stanek's been our DA since 2019 and says there's, quote, nothing better than punishing those who have acted criminally, pursuing justice for victims, and fighting for the safety of this community. Also filing, five-term District 88 Representative Ken King says he's ready to go back down to Austin and do it again in 2023. The Republican represents folks in several of our counties to our north and west, including Hale, Hockley, and Lamb counties. All right, and let's spend 5 good minutes with the Republican candidate for Texas Land Commissioner. Dr. John Spires is here. Good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for coming in and spending some time with us up here. You know, kind of introducing you to people, you know, you're an attorney, you've been a heart surgeon, a veteran. You obviously can live probably the life that you want to live somewhere else. Why in the world would you do this to yourself and take the arrows of politics as they come these days?
Well, I think it's important that all of us dig down deep inside and realize that we have to make a difference in our community and in our future. And it's always important to look at what tools you have and how can you bring those tools to bear. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. As a heart surgeon, I thought that was what I was supposed to do for the rest of my life. And then I got injured. Nobody wants a one-handed heart surgeon, you know. You've got to, you know, I joke I had a hand that I couldn't tie a shoe for about 18 months. You got to rebuild. Where better to do that than in Texas? So I retooled and became an attorney. As an attorney, I recognized, hey, there's a way you can really make a difference now. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful.
You know, and I mentioned your resume a little bit. Talk a little bit more about how your background would play into your duties of the land office if you're elected as commissioner.
Absolutely. Well, the attorney part gives me an understanding of the administrative issues that are going to face any agency, how you transform what is in law to what's enacted, what actually affects people from day to day. And it also gives me a tool set that I can use when the federal government tries to impose their will on the state of Texas. Because believe it or not, you may not have realized this, there is a big target on the state of Texas. And so
from both ends of the political world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what I tell folks is that one of the most important jobs the land commissioner can have is to be able to say, well, thank you for sending me this note about what you want over, and we'll get to it in due time. We're Texas. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Exactly.
So, but the other part, as a surgeon, as a physician, we serve our veterans in our veterans care homes. Mm-hmm. And so the part of me that served in the military, served in the Army Reserve as a surgeon, coupled with my experience starting hospital programs and understanding the nuances that they face, give me a tool set that will actually allow us to help our veterans. And so, been to school a lot. I come from a family of educators. I understand the importance of preschool and high school education. Those are parts of what the land office does. You bring all of those together and I feel like, well, gosh, I've been given a tool set that fits this job.
Tell me some more about, and I'm not sure everyone has a full comprehension of what the land office does here and what the land commissioner's role would be in all this. You handle a lot of investments as far as oil and gas as well. Mm-hmm. How does that work? What's the state of those right now as well?
Well, here in Texas, our founders recognized that education was very important, and so they set aside public land for the benefit of K through 12 education. Mm-hmm. We have 13 million acres that is part of our permanent school fund lands. We work with the State Board of Education to invest that in those lands through leasing to oil and gas, or whether it's uranium or water, or, well, we have a mountain of beryllium, a rare earth element here in West Texas. Those are all things that the state of Texas owns. And for many people, they struggle to understand how big 13 million acres is. I remind them it's about 8 times the size of that little tiny state called Delaware. So that's what each of us own. There's about $48 billion, give or take, in the permanent school fund right now. And we want to make sure we grow that every day, every year. And so We have changed the way, the legislature changed the way that's working going forward, and we think it's going to be much more efficient and will generate a higher rate of return for our school children.
The current land commissioner, George P. Bush, got himself into a little bit of trouble with a lot of conservatives as far as the work with the restoration of the Alamo, which is, again, a little bit of part of the job there, too. Was that deserved? Could he have handled that better? How would it be handled with you in charge of the office?
Well, the benefit of hindsight is we could always look back and say, hey, I'd do this a little better. And I think it could have been done better. I think starting with the terminology of reimagining the Alamo, when you reimagine something, that implies that it was imaginary to start with, and the Alamo is very real to all Texans. It's something that we think of quite often. In fact, when I travel, one of the things people ask me, they see my hat, wearing boots, and I always joke I have a certain Texas swagger. They ask me if I'm a cowboy, and I tell them no, but I am a Texan. The first words out of many people's mouth is, remember the Alamo. These are people from faraway places. The Alamo is a symbol of freedom and liberty. We need to preserve that, and so it is important that we preserve that and protect it, but we don't need to let it be turned into something like Disneyland.
Where can we find more about you and the campaign, and where are you going to be here coming up?
Well, we're traveling all over the state of Texas. I think that if you're going to represent Texas, you need to know Texas, and you need to visit with the people around Texas and hear from Texans. There doesn't need to be an artificial wall erected between the land commissioner, the candidate for land commissioner, and the people of Texas. So we're traveling everywhere. Look for us in your town. To find out more about us, you can go follow us on Facebook, Dr. John Spires for Texas Land Commissioner, or you can go to our website, www.drjohnspires.com. We'd love to have everybody join us there.
Hey, great. Thanks for coming in and kind of letting everybody know who you are and what the office does and what you would do there as part of it. Dr. John Spires, good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks a bunch.
Take care.
Coming up, the state of the pandemic recovery isn't so much about vaccines right now as it is about money. Fear of losing money or the job of giving money away. A look at the issues both of those cause next on Talking Points.